What's going on, guys? It's Adam P and welcome back to the overnight stay vlogs. This is actually our final overnight stay vlog before Marseille in the Champions League. Our next one is the big one. In my opinion, the worst possible place you can stay at as a Newcastle United fan. So let's just see how bad will it actually be when the time comes around. But as for this one, we're here in Peterborough. We're going to show you my experience in Peterborough and how it's actually been a bit uncomfortable, to be honest. So we'll explain how that was in just a bit. My question and my case study for this episode: top 5 worst places I've stayed at in the UK, and also top 5, I guess, underrated places. So places I've been at that on paper you wouldn't think is good, but actually turned out to be good. If you guys are new around here, of course, get down there, hit that subscribe button, make sure you stay updated and don't miss out on any future videos as we take on Brentford tomorrow here on the channel. So make sure you check it out, and hopefully Newcastle will pick up those 3 points. The time is currently 6 p.m. on the Friday night. Second week running, 3 nights down south. Friday until Monday, I'm going to be away watching Newcastle United's match against Brentford. And just like last week, it's the same situation with the trains again. We'll have the engineering works on. So it looks like at the minute, every weekend they're looking to do certain parts of the track down south. So last week it was Northallerton to York, and this week it is York southwards. So for Newcastle fans that are travelling Saturday and Sunday, it is a nightmare basically. It means that you have to go on one train, get off, get on probably a 2-hour coach or so, then get back on the train at a new stop, and then the train down south. So it basically makes your trip an extra couple of hours longer. And for me, the only difference financially is, of course, about £40 for the hotel room, which I don't mind. When I'm doing these videos, when I'm doing the content, admittedly for a normal Newcastle fan that's just going down there to watch the game, you probably wouldn't do that. But for me, doing videos, it's just more convenient and it's better for me anyway. So I personally don't mind it. However, it has been a couple of awkward weeks for fans going down south, and London back-to-back weeks, I suppose. Not too often when that happens. And normally, what I used to do back in the day, I used to actually just spread it across the entire week down south. But of course, with the Champions League match midweek, it basically meant go there, go home, go there, go home. So it is what it is. I'm fairly satisfied with it so far. Of course, we'll mention a bit more about the trains, a bit more about what's been going on over the past few days as we head towards the train station. But for now, so far, so good. Just waiting for my train to arrive now. We're going to be staying in Peterborough this week. We did Doncaster last week. Felt like, you know what, we're going to stay on this trend, going to places that I've never stayed in before. We're going to be heading a bit further down in the train line this time, and we're going to a place that I've been to just once. I've been to Peterborough once in the summer because I got off there, got into an Uber, and we went to Shotton Airfield as I went skydiving for the sign of anti-Alanga. I bought an Alanga shirt and I jumped out of a plane the day he arrived in Newcastle. So I went there, skydived, went back in the train and went back home. I was in and out quite quickly. That was the only time I've been to Peterborough, so I felt like, you know what, we're going to go there this week and we're going to go and stay there. We're going to see what the place is like, especially on the topic as well, as we're going to show you later in the video, of my favourite and least favourite places to go to in the UK. Of course, we can't not mention what happened last week in the trains in what has to be the worst timed YouTube video I've ever made in my entire life. Of course, I made a video last week and the topic, the big question in that video was, what's the best form of transport Newcastle fans can go on the way to the away game? I mentioned the trains, and I told you trains is my favourite option to go on, and within 3 hours of that video being uploaded, of course, we had quite a serious attack take place on the trains. Now, despite that, you can see me here, I'm still going to be travelling on the trains. It hasn't changed my personal trips, and it hasn't put me off going on the train. I know for some people they might feel a bit differently about that, but I've got to give it a props to Linear. The more you look into that situation, the more you look and just see what personal stories are on that train. Linear was spot on. You got to look at the fact you got the Linear staff member who turned up to work just doing his daily job as usual and had to be forced into saving lives by actually stopping the attacker himself and unfortunately suffering several wounds in his body just to make sure that individual couldn't hurt anyone else. And the train driver as well was speaking to the traffic force officers and kept the train running on purpose so you could pull into Huntington and then armed officers could go straight onto the train. Again, decision making in the split moment saved lives, and Linear got the perfect outcome because no one died. Despite 10 people being stabbed, no one died last week. And you have to give the props to Linear because their approach, their actions and their staffing was saved lives and was actually, considering what happened, the best case scenario. So if anything, despite what happened last week, I actually want to go on the trains even more now because I'm so certain of anything was to ever happen like that again. Linear were the ones that being able to show in such an emergency crisis moment that they are able to save lives and they're able to do the correct thing in such a split second. We are just arrived in Peterborough. It took about 2 hours on the train to get here, and it just means, of course, after the Brentford game on Sunday, I go about an hour up on the train back to Peterborough, and then the next morning 2 hours to get home. So it kind of cuts off a bit of the journey while we're still being down here doing my videos. I felt like, yeah, I've never done it before, so let's see how good is it and how well do things go. Gonna check out the hotel now so I can put this bag away, and then I'm gonna tell you about my best and worst ever experiences that I had staying at certain areas in the UK. As for the hotel room that I'm staying in, as always, we have booked ourselves a Travelodge room. The last time I stayed in a Travelodge was my time over in Crawley, where turned out to be a fairly good experience. And one of the reasons why I like booking the Travelodge is just due to how all over the place the hotels are. I've had extremely mixed hotel stays in a Travelodge, going from the worst all the way down to Birmingham New Street. Never ever do Travelodge Birmingham New Street, by the way. That's a disclaimer for anyone watching this video. On the flip side, first impressions looking at the one here in Peterborough. In terms of room size, probably the biggest width I've seen in any Travelodge hotel room. It's wide, and without digging into too much so far, looks fairly good. Now, I wanted to mention a couple of things about the room. Now, I always like the colours on the Travelodge, by the way. I don't know what it is with the blue, but the blue always makes the room look nice. So even down there, for example, where that looks like a stain in the carpet, it doesn't look as bad because the carpet almost hides the stain itself. I say the same with Premier Inn as well. I quite like the pink and the more dark colours in the Premier Inn room. There's just something about the hotel aesthetics where I like those two especially. As for the TV, I never tend to use them here, but there is one there for anyone that likes watching TV programmes. As for the window view, yeah, I mean, that has to be the smallest window view in terms of how wide it is. So you've got the widest room and then the least wide window, but yeah, I'm not too fussed about that. Always dig these chairs. Any London hotel Travelodge, I'm telling you now, plastic crappy chairs. There's thousands of rooms in a Travelodge in London. Whole plastic crap. I like these chairs, they're nice ones. Bed itself looks decent on a first glance. We'll have a feel of it shortly just to see how things are. You know what? I don't mind this. I don't mind this at all. Hello there. We'll show you what the shower head looks like. As you tend to find these hotels, never the nicest shower heads out there. The bath doesn't look too bad either, actually. Normally, you always tend to see stains or just horrible years of decay on the edge of the bath. That one doesn't look too bad. I never ever tend to have a bath in a hotel because more shower. I just go and have my shower, get out. I never ever like to put my bare skin in any hotel baths unless you're talking high luxury, you know, it's been done well. I never tend to own more budget style hotels. But for the room itself, I've got no complaints on a first glance. I'll let you know if anything changes, but I'm fairly pleased with what I've seen. That is one gorgeous looking church for anyone who likes their history in the UK. I'm going to point my phone in the opposite direction though, because I've never felt more on God ever recording a YouTube video. I'm constantly checking behind us to make sure there's nobody trying to go over and spook the phone. And even before I'm recording, I had to quickly stop the video because it's someone that came over me in one direction. I kind of changed my phone direction to point towards the other way from me. It essentially kind of let the guy know that I can see my surroundings, and he immediately backed off. So that one probably maybe came down here to record now. But I wanted to talk you through my top 5 least favourite places in the UK, and also give you my top 5 places that I like, but you probably on paper would have imagined them not being good, if that makes any sense. So my top 5, I guess, most underrated places. So let's start in terms of that. Milton Keynes is actually number 1 for me in the underrated list. I'm going to be real. Milton Keynes, on paper, to be fair, still walking around the night time like this can be a bit sketchy, but I think the shopping there is good. If you guys like F1, it's probably a good place to stay for something like that. And just outside of London, hotels are cheap. It's a bit awkward to get there, but once you get there, I don't know what it is with Milton Keynes, but it's just like a place that it used to always be reliable for me. It's always just go there and it'd be easy to sort out. A lot of the places down south, you're talking Bournemouth, Southampton, Brighton, but just anywhere past London, down south, on near the coastline, all of them are good. I like the away grounds going to, and I just like being down there. So I think Bournemouth's my favourite out of the lot in that regard, but again, anywhere past London, further south, every single one of them enjoy being at. All 4 of them like being at. Places like Blackburn as well, at the top of my head. I remember being fairly fond of Blackburn in terms of areas around Manchester. A lot cheaper to stay there. Again, if you walk around at night time, we always kind of got to watch around just like this. But Blackburn, once again, is a place for me that I thought was fairly underrated from what people said about it. On the flip side, places I absolutely hated: Croydon. Always number 1, Croydon. It is going to take a lot for Croydon to be topped. It would actually have to physically be me getting like in a serious instinct for Croydon to not be number 1, because that one by far is the worst. I think Palace, anyway, in terms of the London clubs, is the most awkward and annoying to get to, because you go to London, then it's South London, you got to go on an extra 30-minute train when you're in London to get there, and Croydon's a horrible place. It's not nice at all. I could not do this now, walking around recording a video like this in the night time. It is honestly that bad. Croydon for me is easily number 1. Doncaster last week is actually a close second. I wasn't great about it when I was there last week, and it was just a nightmare even when I was off, not recording anywhere in Doncaster. And on a night time, that was probably one of the worst ones I would have said until tonight. I had a bit of an uncomfortable experience actually in Peterborough just before. We'll mention that in a brief moment. Birmingham's up there. Birmingham's always going to be up there again. I think Birmingham's probably maybe the worst one daytime wise. North London, surprisingly, where Tottenham was, that big long road next to Tottenham's new stadium, there's always something going on in that road. It's horrible. Every time I walk past it, even during the day, there's just always something going on. I think especially that part of London anyway is quite famous for having people with a little motorbikes driving around trying to pinch phones and pinch stuff off people. It's horrible. North London's horrible where Tottenham is. Finsbury Park's all right where Arsenal is, and then South London's the worst. Those are definitely the worst parts I personally stayed in London. As for Peterborough, I've been on God ever since I got here. Now, when I first got off the train, go to my hotel, I'm walking through the city, suitcase on me. I look across the road and I see there's a gentleman that's basically spotted me out. So he crosses the road and he walks over to me while I'm walking down. So he approaches me and asks me for £8. Quite an odd number, but he asked me for £8 because he's been telling me he's only been in the UK for 1 month, that you needed to get on a train somewhere. I didn't catch much more of what he was saying, because to be honest, I was actually more checking him out rather than what he was saying, due to the fact he was about 2 yards away, quite close to me. I would actually argue uncomfortably close to me as well, due to the fact I've got my suitcase with me. I'm not really in a situation where if he was to try and take someone off me or he's trying to do something, like I can't properly defend myself, because I've got one hand in my suitcase. I'm not letting that suitcase go. He just came over, he's asking me for money. I declined it at first. I was like, I'm sorry, I haven't got any cash on me. But the problem was, he then kept asking. So he kept them banging on. He was getting to a stage where he started to talk a lot more about himself, trying to, I guess, guilt trip me. And it's always quite hard to call, because some of these people are genuine. Some of these people walk up to you. Some of these people that are unfortunately in a situation where they desperately need money do actually walk around and ask people politely for money. But this guy was fairly well dressed up. I would argue had designer clothes on. He was someone, in my personal opinion, and having a look at him, first time. I felt like he was in a situation where he wasn't desperate. I felt like he was someone that was more of an opportunist. So the fact that I had my suitcase with me, in my opinion, probably looking to pinpoint people that you would assume are tourists or would assume that are, you know, in and out the area. Maybe you could tell with my suitcase, he might have felt like I had a lot of money on me or something like that. But point being, I felt like he did target me, and it was just a case where he was asking me 6, 7, 8 times. I kept, no, sorry, I haven't got anything on me. Sorry, I'm not going to give you anything. And then we got to a stage where he's starting to be quite aggressive towards me. He started like mouthing me off, and it was just a case where, you know, I've got to get myself out of this situation. So yeah, eventually he backed off and then walked his separate way. But that was not nice at all. It was due to the fact I had my suitcase, I couldn't physically do anything, so I was a bit worried if he's going to try and take someone off me. But yeah, maybe that was a bit of a nothing story for some of you watching this video. But I felt like, especially going through a city, that one was a bit too close for me. I felt like he was going to try and potentially take someone off me, and yeah, just not happening at all. But I wanted to let you all know that I felt like there was someone targeting me. So especially if you guys are checking in any hotels and a bit later on in the afternoon or the night time just like this, just keep your guard, because especially walking around Peterborough, like I've been very selective of where I record my YouTube videos, and I'm never ever someone that tends to do that. It's places got me properly on edge at the minute. Well, police cars turned up just behind me before, so I'm more comfortable now walking through this little main section here and just finishing the video up. But looking ahead at the game tomorrow, should be beating Brentford. Let's be honest, I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans claim on social media they'll be happy for 0-0 draw, they'd be happy for 1-1, they would take a draw in a heartbeat. I don't feel that way. For me, it's a must-win. I stand by it. Well, what's the point of having this mentality of going down to Brentford, you know, being happy for draw? We haven't won the away match since April. We can't just keep going down all these hard away games and just saying, you know, I'll take a draw now, because where are we going to get the points from? We have to start winning these away games. And Brentford's a good side. Don't get me wrong, I won't underestimate them. When I look at Brentford now, and I think they are a good team. And hell, even after signing Bruno and Wissa, I still think they are potentially even better, actually. I would actually argue they are better. So when I look at Newcastle's situation now, you've got to end this horrible run of away games we've had in the Premier League. We haven't won an away match since April. It's nearly December. Like, we haven't won one since April. That's a bad record. Newcastle knows that's a bad record as well. And just as long, keep an eye on them, but just as long as Newcastle has this horrible streak, you're always going to have doubts going to these away matches. Newcastle needs to change that mentality. Look at Sunderland. I don't want to keep mentioning, but just look at Sunderland. They won at Chelsea. They went to Stamford Bridge and won at the ground. We haven't won it since 2012. There is no reason and no excuse, in my opinion, why Newcastle can't win at these away games. Yes, I know Gordon's out. I know Wissa's out. I know Sula's out. Newcastle should still be winning. I think Newcastle should be still winning some of these games, and we just have to change it. Sooner you change it, sooner you end this streak, the sooner you can move on, is what I always say. Newcastle can move on at that stage. Newcastle can look ahead, and Newcastle can have that ambition of finishing high in the league too. But as long as you have a bad away form, you are never ever qualifying for European football with this current away form. We've got one of the worst forms in the league. We are just talking bottom three in terms of away form. We have to sort it out. We haven't won in so long, and that needs to change. And you know, Newcastle fans may be happy to draw more. I'm not. I think it needs to be 3 points. I'm big on that. I am quite big on that. But in terms of a couple of final messages I would say in regards to Peterborough, anyone else, like, I'm going to still put this message out there because I think it's important. I still feel like, in terms of experiences, I think it's different in the UK if you are a boy than if you are a girl. And I would say, as someone, of course, goes to all these grounds by myself, you know, I travel these games, I look around constantly. I'm always someone that's like, you know, constantly checking places out. I feel like if you're a girl, you'll not have the same experience as me, and I will always be big in that, especially anyone that's travelling by themselves to watch Newcastle play, because the UK, without getting political, I don't think the UK is the safest place at the minute. So, yeah, that'll be my big message coming out from this video. But yeah, I'm constantly keeping my eyes around. I hate this. I don't like this at all. The only thing that's stopping me from being down that corner again is the fact that police cars there, so I kind of know someone watching at least, but I don't like this one, you know. There's something about Peterborough in the night, but then again, I'm not really going to criticise Peterborough for that, because I think a lot of places are real sketchy at the minute. It's a lot darker at night, but yeah, it is what it is. Let me know your opinions down below, guys. What do you think about the vlog? What do you think about the game? And what do you think about my experience? Have you had anything like this before? Let me know in the So let me know down in the comment section, and we will see you all in the next one.